Weekly club training sessions, guys. I want to kind of talk about how these can make or break you as an individual. I think one of the most common aspects to any kind of running training program, cycling training program, is that a lot of the time there's a group element involved. There is going to be something, you're going to have an opportunity to jump in with a training group, whether it is meeting up on the corner of the street, it's up at the track. There's so many different kind of situations, setups this could be. You're meeting at a local bike shop, you are just meeting outside someone's house, and you kind of, there's 3 to 10 to 15 to 50 of you. I mean, I've worked and trained in many different environments. Up at the local university here, there's an amazing community club there, and there's 50 plus individuals that turn up, and it's an amazing environment. Running a track, running out onto the roads. They kind of break up into a couple of groups. It's amazing atmosphere. Tuesday, Thursday nights, it's a universal pattern to most programming, if I'm honest. Working with people all over the world, it's those kind of Tuesday nights or Thursday nights. It's generally like the track nights, etc., and they fit in well with a training program. But what I really want to discuss, guys, is reasons why it can make you or break you. And there are 3 key things I want us to talk about today that we want to be taken into consideration forever in terms of how we manage these types of training session. We at SFE are looking to help people build up to tolerable levels of training where their bodies are able to, work back from an injury, but also then push their bodies to a level where potentially they've never been to, I haven't been to in decades. Running a fast 5K PB again, being able to run 100K for fun, running 100 miles for fun, multi-day events, going away on an active holiday. How we get there is about building training load. Like, you're trying to allow the body to acclimatize back to training. And I want you to keep that in mind when I'm talking about this, because club training sessions, group training sessions are amazing, guys. The guaranteed motivation that you get from these environments it's second to none. It's exactly why we take part in a lot of these sports. It's to kind of meet people. The first thing we did when we moved to Australia years ago was like, right, let's go and find a running club. Like, literally straight away, let's go and find the local triathlon club. Who's swimming where? Who down at the pool? Like, these environments are exactly what you're looking for, because they're going to be like-minded people in it to a certain degree. And then, funnily enough, you start to go for coffee and everything else afterwards, and away you go. So, but the motivation, especially during the winter months, like when you're feeling flat during the week, there's nothing better than jumping into a group session. Again, the social element, it's glue to the week. We've all got heavy, demanding weeks, stressful weeks. We've got a lot of other responsibilities. That element cannot be understated. And then obviously the endorphins. I mean, being running shoulder to shoulder with people, if you're used to just training on your own a lot, then obviously like this is going to be an element where it's nothing better than running, training with other people, testing yourself. But guys, I have to be honest and say that how you utilize your group training sessions is really important. I think people can get into group training sessions and take them a little bit too loosely. And I think I've had hundreds, maybe almost 1,000 conversations about this over the decade plus, and where people are very aware that when they go and train in a group environment, they can be redlining it. They can quite easily be doing probably more than they should be. They're kind of, they're running with the faster pack. They're running with people that potentially have been training a little bit longer than them, have been a bit more consistent than them. And you can get caught up in it. And going back to that point about managing training load, guys, this is where I really want us to be thinking about. Like, it's the most important aspect to preventing injury is preventing this consistent overreaching, this overtraining aspect where your body, you're redlining it, you're pushing your body beyond its abilities. And it's a very hard thing to monitor in a group training environment. I've run group training sessions my entire career in every facet, from running sessions to strength and conditioning sessions to general fitness sessions and as soon as that ratio goes from 1 to 3, 1 to 5, 1 to 15, 1 to 25, 50 plus, like it's happening, guys. There's lots of, there's lots of groups out there, and it's very hard to break that down into an individualized approach, obviously. And as a result, this is where a lot of struggle can start to happen, right? People start to overreach. They start to get niggles. They really are burning the candle heavily in this one particular area, and it's going to compromise them for the rest of the week. So, guys, I want to give you 3 top tips, in terms of like utilizing your club sessions in the best way possible. Starting right at the top, right? And hopefully it sounds obvious, but your preparation is key. Okay, like turning up to a group session, 6:30, 7 o'clock in the evening, potentially, I don't know, or first thing in the morning, 5 a.m., 6 a.m. Preparation is key. Like, and a lot of the time you're turning up and you're going. You're spinning the legs. You're just doing an easy 400. Hopefully you're turning up and you're doing some basic types of like dynamic mobility drills. You're doing some form of preparation work. If you're running, it's leg swings. It's, you're doing those kind of tiptoe walks. You're starting to do the hammy scoops. You're going into like step overs, just doing a few squats. You're trying to open up the joints. You're trying to prime some of those key muscle groups. If this isn't happening, or if you're incredibly time poor, which a lot of people are, they're just turning up and going, this is going to catch up fast. And I can tell you with absolute certainty, most people don't do much preparation. Oh yeah, I do something. I do the first 5 minutes, I take it easy. Easy running, easy riding, like that's not preparing your body for the work ahead. Like, you are just getting the blood flowing. Like, if you're older than 30 years old, you've got to be doing a bit more mechanical work. Okay. You've been sat on your ass for the last 24 hours. You've been lying in bed for the last 12 hours, whatever it is. Like, you are going to be tight, immobile. You're going to have had previous injuries that probably need a little bit more attention in certain areas, ankles, stiff calves, stiff feet, stiff back, whatever. Taking a little bit of time at home before you go out the door. It's like literally 2 to 3 minutes of 3 or 4 drills that are just going to get your body moving. And it is relentless every single time you train, especially if you're going up to the track, especially if you're going out with a group, because that intensity, that perceived exertion is going to go up 1, 2 at least levels. Whatever you think you're going at a 5, you're probably going at a 6 or a 7. Like, it's just because you're in that group environment. You put anyone in a group fitness, like functional fitness training environment, you're going to see someone lifting more weight immediately, doing more reps immediately than they've ever done before. It's because of that natural motivation, the natural high that you're getting. So your preparation has to be on point, and it's going to be individual, right? Every single one of you listening right now is going to have probably a couple of key areas that you just need to double down on every single week, maybe for the rest of time. And for me, my left knee, I could articulate with every single one person we're working with right now, the one said area that they need to just always be working on. Is it a foot? Is it a calf? Is it a knee? Is it a quad? Is it a hip flexor? Is it a lower back? Is it a hamstring? All of it, right there. But most people have 1 or 2 areas that they need to work on. So preparation, guys, you can't afford to be lazy with it. Like, it is literally part of the session. In your mind's eye, you're thinking, I've got that session tonight. I need to be doing that preparation work first. And similarly, guys, the recovery piece afterwards. You're not jumping back in the car. You're not just going home and you've got to give yourself that 1, 2 drills or stretches or something just to down-regulate your body. It's just so easily swept away because of that environment. And now, don't get me wrong, sometimes with the preparation at a club, it might be too extensive sometimes. It might be and it might not be hitting all the points. So you might turn up and they've got a run warm-up in place, but actually you're always thinking, there's a couple of things I know I need to be doing. My physio told me, my S&C coach told me. You do it at home. Like, you've got to do it before you go out the door, 20 minutes, half an hour before. It's still preparing your body. You get in the car, you've got that synovial fluid going through the joints. You've got some blood through those key ligaments, tendons, muscle groups. You've got your body, your brain and body in sync. So don't rest on your laurels with this. Number 2, big one, drop the ego. And we're all guilty of it, guys. Like, we're all in that environment where we are, we're excited. We're getting pumped up. We're in a place where we're like, yep, I've got more to give here. Risk versus reward. I want to train the rest of this week. I've got bigger efforts coming up later in the week. I've got big rides at the weekend. I've just come off the back of a long period, a couple of weeks off with a niggly injury. You've got to have that level of maturity in your mind to think, have I earned the right to run X effort? 800s or something. It's like, well, I need to be good for 4. I need to be good for 6. Maybe I'm going to cap it and then maybe come back next week and I've got 600s next week and maybe I'll hit those with a bit more volume. But it's so hard to do, guys. Like, I was just a couple of months ago, I just jumped in on a friend's gym and I was just doing some group training sessions. Literally every single session, every time I went to do a new set of work, I was like, check my ego, because it's the same thing when I'm in the blinking pool, same thing when I'm out on the bike, same thing when I'm out on a run with a friend. This is me. This is my pace. This is where I need to be to move efficiently well, to move consistently well. Like, it's important to tap into that ego at times and go, like, let's see what I'm good for. But you've got to know that you've earned the right. Like, you want to know that you've put the work in, and you know what that work is. It's, have I been consistent for the last 6 weeks of training to then put in this is significant jump in intensity or volume. There is a logic to it, guys, and it's just tapping into that. And so the ego is a massive piece of the puzzle. And then that 3, I've already kind of talked about it here, but it's coming back from an injury or you've had significant time away. You are in a deconditioned state. Just be okay with that. Every time you step away from training for a length of time, you have lost conditioning, you've lost strength, you've lost peak power, lost peak speed. It's okay. It's normal. Alongside the ego piece, alongside, like this preparation piece, you've got to make sure that you're aware of this and being okay with it and going, right, this is me today. I'm aware that I had a dysfunction a while ago. Like you were limping around. You couldn't load that leg. You've had surgery. You literally haven't trained for a long time. Be fair to yourself and go, right, this needs to be me today. And I'm going to run with the group 3 today instead of group 1, like whatever it is, you've got to be aware of where you want to be and it's and you do have to you have to quarterback this yourself, guys. Like I will keep, like as a coach, my job is to repeat myself on a weekly basis in different ways. And it's a thing that I learned at training as a teacher way back when. It's a thing I've always learned as a coach, but as an athlete, as someone who wants to train every single week and wants to be injury free, that repetition in your own mind has to be there right at the forefront. Where am I at? What do I want to be getting out of this session? Have I earned the right to be training at these peak powers, peak states, peak intensities? And talking to your coach. I mean, your coach might be wrapped up in trying to keep times and splits and working with multiple different people, but a quick little, hey, heads up, just come back from X. I'm not sure if I should be. That interaction, you're going to have to lead that because sometimes they're not going to be in the room. No, they're not going to be thinking that way because they a lot of the time. They may be at times. But every single week, every single training session, I question it. And that's what a group training environment should need. I mean, that's why most great group training environments will be no more than 15-1 ratio. Because you just simply, talking from a lot of experience here, in a 45, 60-minute session, you cannot get around that group quick enough. You may, and as a coach, you want to touch everyone. You want to say their name at least once, twice within a session. You want to engage with them. More than 15, no chance. And that's even if you see them, because if you're doing a run out and back or whatever, you're not going to even see them. So you've got to quarterback this yourself, guys. But it can be the thing that breaks you. And I have to keep bringing it back to it. Like, I cannot tell, and you know this, how many times you pulled up going, wow, I've redlined it today and my legs are so irritable. I've got my calf, my quad, my knee, my hamstring, my back. And it's come from that overreaching. You've overloaded said area. You've pushed more than you normally have, or you've earned the right to. And it's just giving yourself a little bit more time, giving yourself a little bit more bandwidth to then be ready to push again, to move into the next session. And that timeline is unique to you. It's built on confidence. It's built on repetition. Like any good training, building up your training, it's going to come from that repetition, layering of intensity, layering of volume. And there's so many benefits to it, club training or group training sessions, but it's just how you manage that dose within the week. And you just got to treat it with the utmost respect. That's what I'm saying. Like, we haven't even talked about the environment of it. The track, the camber of the track, the severity of the contact that you're making with the ground is literally one of the last places you want to be returning to run if it was with an injury, because of the intensity, the camber, the joint angles, the forces through the feet. And same thing would be out on the bike, in a peloton, we're riding in a small peloton group, it's the same thing. Like the intensity, the skill level required, like we kind of take it for granted, and we don't think about it that much. But if you're angry and you've been frustrated for a long time with injury, treat it like you would be lifting 100 kilo off the ground. Like you are literally going, right, this is serious training I'm about to step into. I need to manage the load, manage the intensity, because it's a huge dose. You want it to be one of the A sessions of the week. But with that in mind, preparation, managing ego, respecting the fact that your timeline has been short or has been kind of stagnant because you've been away from training or whatever. There's a level of deconditioning there. These 3 points can really resonate, and I really want them to, because they resonate with me every single time I train in a group environment. Have I earned the right to run an hour and a half, to ride and to go out for a couple of hours with some of the guys in the local village here, on the mountain bikes or on the road bikes? No, I need to know that I'm probably going to need to be fueling more. You make these decisions very early on. I need to get my body ready for this big session here, because I'm going out with a group who are definitely going to be fitter, stronger, faster. They've been training a little bit longer. They're further ahead down the road at the moment in terms of their training consistency. it's the stuff that's going to keep you training, guys, and it's the stuff that's going to keep you being injury free, and it's to give you the consistency that plagues so many of us. We don't ever get this wonderful 6, 12, 18, 24 months of consistent training. And we've got it, guys. We've got it here. It's happening every single day here. We're getting people back from injury. We're keeping people training week in, month, year after month, year after year. Seven people are on program for 6, 7 years here because this narrative is in place. They've got club sessions, they're group training, they're at group training in the gym, at a track, bike sessions. But you're reinforcing these qualities like, where am I at? What do I need to achieve? We'll look at some of those group training sessions and go, right, what do we have, as a quick reflection point, what do we want to get out of tonight's Tuesday night track session with the local club? Right, 6 of those, a bit more recovery. It's that individualization to that running program, to that cycling program, to that multi-sport program. That's the point of difference, guys. It's never going to be enough just to keep turning up, because it's going to keep pulling you to pieces, because it's not tailored, individualized to your training loads at the moment. And it takes a lot of experience to be able to turn up, or a lot of youth, if I'm honest. And that's why they can just turn up and just rag their bodies. They keep doing it. But what are we seeing? We're seeing a massive epidemic of bone stress injuries and long-term tendinopathy still in the younger populations because of this mismanagement of training load. So you just want to consider these points, guys. That's all I want you to be thinking about time and time and time again. And I'll always be doing this. It's part of my role in terms of keeping you injury-free, keeping you consistently training so you can get the most consistently out of your body over the next year plus. All right, guys, that's enough from me. 3 key points. Group sessions, love them. Best things. It's literally the glue of our community, but they can make or break us, and they need to be considered. And that how we manage the dose and how of the training that we're doing with it, it's going to be individualized to you. Keep those points in mind. Any questions, let us know. Speak soon.